Hey guys, so the next thing we're going to work on is going to be adding sounds. So we're going to first start with adding sound effects, and then we're going to add a background sound towards the end. So to start off with, we're going to add a shoot sound for our shooting sprite, and we're going to go ahead and start off by creating a variable. The reason why we're making this variable is because since we want two different sounds to play, and not just one sound constantly playing, we need a variable to help us pick between both sounds that will allow us to then play it. So we're going to go ahead and click on make a variable, and we're going to call this random. We're going to leave it for all sprites since we're going to be using this multiple times, and we're going to click on OK. Once we have that, we're going to check off the random bubble just so that it's not blocking anything that we have over here on our game. And then we're going to go ahead and add a set block inside of this block of code. So since we're always going to be constantly shooting, it's always going to be constantly changing that sprite number for us, which works perfectly. We're going to add a set block above the create clone of myself. We're going to change this to random. And then we're going to add a pick random from 1 to 2. Since we're going to be using it for two different sounds. Now that we have that all set up, the next thing that we're going to do is create a MyBlock, because since we're going to be making two sounds, we kind of want the space to create the code for it, just so that it doesn't make this any longer or jumbles it up for us. So we're going to click on make a block, and we're going to call this sound, and we're going to click OK. So this define sound, what we're going to put is inside of control, and we're going to add an if then else. We're going to be specifically looking for if the random variable is set to 1, or you can also make it set to 2, it's kind of up to you. So we're going to go into operators, add an equal sign. I'm going to change the 50 to a 2, and the empty bubble, we're going to add the random bubble. So for example, if the random number that's picked is 2, then we're going to play this sound. If it's not 2 and ends up being 1, which is this else, then it's going to play the second sound. So we're going to go inside of the Fuchsia Sound tab, and we're going to add two set blocks, set volumes to each. And then we're going to add a start sound at the bottom. So once we're done adding this, we can go ahead and go to the sound tab. We can click on the choose a sound, and you can either go into effects since the sounds are short, or you can also go inside this little space one since our game is space related if you guys stuck to the same theme, to kind of look for a sound that you guys want to. You can go ahead and hover over the play button sound to kind of hear a sneak peek of what that sound is going to be. And once you do, you can go ahead and click on it. Once you clicked on it and you have two sounds, you're pretty much all set. But if you don't like the sound and you want to edit it a little bit, you can by either playing around with these different buttons and adding different effects to the sound that you found. That way, if you don't completely like a sound, maybe you can make it into a sound that you do want to use. So now that I have both of these sounds, I'm going to go ahead and click on my code tab. I'm going to go ahead and change one of them, so one of them will be my pop sound and the other one will be my zop sound. And then I'm going to set the volume for right now to 50. Later on, when we have all of our sounds, we can go ahead and listen to it and play around with the volume for everything. But for right now, we're just going to leave it as at its base, 50. The last thing that we're going to go ahead and do is go into the MyBlocks and add this sound block in between the set, random, and the create clone of myself. This is to make sure that once we start by clicking on the spacebar and it sees this sound tab, is going to automatically go here and is going to run this code, and then it's going to push out the sound that we're asking for.